Okay, hey y'all. Today I'm gonna work on assembling my impeller for the leaf blower that I'm building. I came up with these pieces right here. You've probably seen this right here before, where I cut it out of the center of what was going to be the outside shroud, and so I got it made, and I made the blades to go on it. I got 6 of those, and I came up with this center hub. I got this thing at one of the local tractor store. Machined it up out of two different pieces and welded it together, but they were originally pieces that I bought, and come to find out with my engine, that lawnmower engine, that it took a smaller key, so I had to cut a smaller key in here. I was hoping to use this original, but in any case, out of the 2 pulley hubs that I got at the tractor store, I would use those as my start to make this up. If I probably should have just made one from scratch if I knew it was going to be all that involved, but in any case, I scribed these lines on here. They're all 60 degrees apart. I used this right here and just put it on there like that to get my first one, and then from there on out I went 60 degrees off like that. I guess it's easier to go like that, I suppose. And then I describe my lines to get the others. But in any case, what I was planning on doing was I'm going to turn it where I can use 2 of these set screws to hold on a shaft, and I'm also going to have a little washer that goes on here and bolt through the center, because lawnmower shafts have that 3/8 fine thread hole. So I'm also going to bolt it that way so that it sets the height. I set this step from here to here so that this impeller came out where I wanted it to be, just by bolting it up with the end bolt. But I'm going to turn it so that these 2 set screws are right in between 2 blades, and the blades will go on there like that, and I'll weld it all in place, and we'll see how well it comes out without being all crooked. I have a little bit of a plan for that too once I get started, but first thing I'm going to do is weld this in place. Just put a couple tacks on it. I don't want to go anything that's going to cause this thing to warp too much, because it will. It's sheet metal. So I'm going to move the camera kind of out of the way and kind of get started. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is put a couple tacks on here, get that thing set in place. Okay, so now it's not going to go too far. Alright, so that's not too bad. get them in the top corners over here. Relatively flat for now. Maybe I'll do it midway down. Okay, that one's not bad. But you definitely start to feel full right away. As soon as you tack it. So I'm going to go a little bit further past that way, so that when it pulls, it'll pull it right in line. Worked out rather nice. Okay. It's getting heavier already. Okay, they're still square and straight up and down. start that tack off. Okay, they're pretty well all straight up and down for the most part, within reason for welding. These have all been machined, so they're all the same length. Yeah, milling machines, so they're pretty nice. Now, I got another little idea that I had for making sure this thing didn't wobble when it spins. I have a shaft that I'm going to put through here and tighten the set screws down, and then I can put a square up against this and see if it's pulled one way or another. I can kind of tweak it around a little bit. So I'm going to get that set up next. Okay, so I decided to put a little tack on the tips of each of these blades around here, and I put it on this shaft so that I could rotate it around and see how true it runs, because there's all kinds of opportunity for this here to wave and wobble all over the place when you spin it. So and it did. So I put the square on here, and I took my ruler and went over to there, and I was going by inch, and it was right at 400 thousandths, so just a little bit over 3/8, and most of them were in that ballpark. So I beat and hammered around on it, hitting it this way and that way on each one of these until I got them all to be within a relationship to each other, so that it wouldn't wobble all over the place. So this right here is what I got. So I think I can live with that. So we'll see. I put another tack right down over here on each blade, and it didn't seem to move. So I'm going to progressively start adding tack welds in opposite ends and so on. Try to get it stabilized before I go crazy about welding the whole thing. I'm going to weld each of these blades solid to this hub first, and then the blade will have stability, and then I'll go back and I'll put a bead of weld across these, and I'm going to put a bead on both sides. Everything's going to be welded in here really solid, because this thing's going to be spinning whatever speed the engine runs. Probably about 2,000 RPM, something like that, out of that little Briggs engine. Can you imagine if one of these things flew off? It's still inside of a sheet metal cage, but it's sheet metal. So you better believe I'm going to weld the heck out of it. So in any case, I'm going to do a little bit more of that off camera here and then come back. Okay, so I put a little tack weld down on here on each one, and it didn't move at all. So I think I'm going to go with it here and weld it up the rest of the way. Here you can see it's still running true. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little bead of weld down on each one of them, and I'm pretty confident it's going to stay fairly well where I want it to be. done within reason. Pretty well works for me. Okay, now I'm going to go along and put little beads of weld on all of these all the way around. I'm probably going to spread it out a little bit because it can still warp this sheet metal and have it go wavy all over the place. So I'm going to do a little bit of that next. Yeah, I'll probably do a little sections at a time. That's going to take a lot of time, so I'm going to turn the camera off for some of that. Yeah, I'll probably just do that off camera and come back to it after it's finished. Okay, so here I welded about halfway out, and I did little, like 1-inch strips at a time, and it started out when I was finished welding that everything was fairly well still straight. But as the heat spread after I welded, you can see what happened. The sheet metal started bowing and twisting and doing funny stuff. And if you watch along this edge right here, these right here still run straight. That didn't move, but you can see how horrible this is. So that's one thing that can happen to you with sheet metal when you weld on it. It does all kinds of funny things with heat. So this thing has long since cooled down now, and it hasn't, kind of went back to its original position. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a slot down on each one of these right here to relieve the pressure, so that I can relax everything back to being straight again. Meanwhile, I'll weld all of this stuff right here, and then when I get done, I'll get everything right straight again, and then when I weld it, maybe I can weld it so that it runs straight again, so it stays flat. That's going to be my plan of attack here. So yeah, that's pretty horrible. So, but I expected that to happen. I knew it was bound to happen, so I'm not too surprised. I thought I was going slow enough, but I heated it up and that stuff happens. So I'm going to turn the camera off and I'm going to play with it some more. Okay, well now here little by little, I got these welded, a solid bead of weld all the way across on these on both sides, all the way around, and I did it about a ½ inch at a time. I'd do a little ½ inch bead, and move to the next one, ½ inch bead, and all the way around did that. And then I'd let it, after I did it all the way around, I would let it cool until I could put my hands on it and it would feel comfortable. And then I would go along again and put another ½ inch bead, and I'd alternate from one side to the other. So I'd do one side all the way around, let it cool, do the same spot on the other side all the way around and let it cool. And I finally got it all the way along there. It took quite a long time. And I also cut the slots right here to relieve the pressure where it warped. And just by cutting a slot halfway down on each one of these, right in the middle, I was able to tap that warped metal back straight again. And here, if I move the camera, you can see it runs true again. Yeah. It's a whole lot better than what it was earlier. So now that I've got all this stuff welded up, I'm going to re-weld this slot that I cut on each one of these. Little by little I'll weld it back, trying to make sure that I don't warp it again. And I should be able to get it all welded back up, and it should still run as true as that when I'm done. So here's hoping, I guess. So I'm going to shut the camera off and do that again, little by little. Okay, so this thing is, I finally got it all welded up, and it still runs nice and true. So I'm pretty happy about that. It took long enough. But yeah, there's my beads of weld across the back side where I cut the seams, or yeah, to release, make it so I could get it flat again. And that's quite the piece. So hopefully this will do it. I'm gonna have to come up with a way. I'm gonna have to come up with a way to balance it, because you know, as fast as this is gonna be spinning, as much as I've done to it, I don't imagine it's perfectly balanced. That'd be wishful thinking. So I'm gonna have to see what I come up with for balancing it. I thought I would see how it would go to start with, sitting on a blade balancer, but I kind of figured it would. It's too top heavy for a blade balancer. So I'm going to make up a little piece that I can sit on top of the pin of the blade balancer that will reach up in farther up in here to get it a better spot where it's the center of gravity is right for it to sit level, and then I'll see how close it is. If it sits fairly level, I might see how it runs on a little engine. If it shakes too bad, then I'll know that it wasn't good enough. So that's pretty much where it stands until I make up a little piece. It's getting late in the evening, so I'm going to have to do this another day, balancing it. But I'm going to next spend a little time cleaning it all up. So next time you see it, it should be all smoothed out. So that's about it.